We haven't heard each other in a while, I guess, but I'm back. I kinda want to talk about some topics, but I had issues with the audio. I'm now back to using my old mic, but I hope it got kinda a bit better because my ex-boyfriend helped me to set it up. Yes, the things I wouldn't do for you guys. I had to ask him for help. Then I saw the cartoon community actually is making fun of a dude who basically repeated a lot of those quartering anti-woke talking points, and I thought it would actually be fun to look at it myself personally, to directly say my opinion on those type of stuff. I often enjoy video essays about how pandering and woke media, I hate using the word woke to be honest, I hate how pandering sometimes really can ruin something, or there are generally people who kinda shit on the property, or people who hate the fan base and talk about how the fan base is the problem. Like, there is those stuff and I love seeing it criticized, but what's going on here is he uses his prime example is Hazel from the Fairly Odd Parents remake, and it's not Black Timmy Turner, it's Hazel. It's a completely different character. It's a completely different character. And so I saw some clips on Twitter. I thought, yay, time to talk about something. Enough talking, more watching.
So the other day I had an epiphany. I was scrolling mindlessly through my phone as one does, and I came across this monstrosity, The Fairly Odd Parents reboot. It was just as bad as I expected it to be.
Look how they massacred my boy.
They didn't touch your boy, they did nothing to your boy. It is not your boy, it's someone else. Your boy is an adult now.
Mindless drivel plot lines, flashy art style, and an overt unfaithfulness to the source material. And I realized, these phenomena are not unique to the Fairly Odd Parents. These symptoms carry on to many remakes and reboots that have sprouted from Hollywood in the last few years, whether it's animated or live action, movie or TV.
Okay, like Velma is just. Let's be honest, we all know the people behind Velma hate the original IP. They're basically shitting on it. Then there Camp Coral. I don't know. I never watched it, but I think it's made for toddlers. The way it looks, it's definitely made for toddlers and people who are way too young to even use social media. What else was there? There was the live action Fairly Odd Parents, which thank God was cancelled after one season because it was terrible. I'm glad that the reboot pretends it never happened. It never happened. Nobody saw it. So yeah, glad this one is gone as well. Like, many remakes don't work, but I think the reboot for Fairly Odd Parents was good. The Rise of TMNT reboot was good. Otherwise, I don't really watch that many reboots. The Shira one also wasn't terrible. I think the Catrodora thing was a bit toxic, but it genuinely had an interesting story to it. I gotta give them that.
Show. And if this were just a one-off thing in media, I probably wouldn't be making this video. But this is a repeated cancer that is spreading to more and more properties, and is only destructive in nature. And so I gotta take the mantle and expose just what makes these properties so inherently bad. Let's go. It was originally the Fairly Odd Parents Trash Reboot #1 that inspired me to make this video, but now they went and made another one. And when it's animated, that's right.
I can't compare those two. In the live action one, from what I know, it's that it was Timmy's cousin or something just getting his fairies because he's going to college and he says, here, take them. And here it was something different. I think it was they kind of retired already, but for her choose to come out of retirement. And she definitely is different from Timmy, so it was a bit refreshing. And unlike in the old one, they actually really respect the law of the original. They stick to it. They don't make up kind of new rules or break rules or. Okay, to be fair, the old one was breaking rules a lot towards the end. What can I say? I kind of struggle with words because I just enjoyed it for what it was. I liked the little callbacks to the original stuff, and I can genuinely recommend it. It's good. It's really good. I recommend it to everyone who loved the old show.
I draw the line. I'm old enough to remember back in Yale 2016 when everyone was trashing the new reboot at the time, Teen Titans Go. Then it was the Powerpuff Girls, Ben 10 reboot, Rise of TMNT, the list goes on. No
One of those four is not like the other. It's the one with the turtles.
one really respects reboots as an inherent property, especially in the manner that they're handled in our modern era. It's almost a safe opinion these days to say, ooh, Hollywood unoriginal, Hollywood bad. But when you take a deeper look at it, you realize it's not just about the unoriginality. These Disney reboots do more.
Another thing that makes easy money, it's saying women woke, people of color woke, this is woke, this is woke. Like, come on, this is basically what the dude here does. Like, when he says Hazel is Black Timmy Turner, you can already kinda sniff it out as it's gonna be a woke show.
Than just rip off the original for monetary gain. No, no, no. Yeah,
Okay, to be fair, Maleficent actually tried to be something different. I won't say if it did it a good or bad job, but it tried to be something different.
actively disrespect the source material while they do it. They have to warp the brand to their liking, whether it's for monetary, social, or storytelling purposes.
I'm not gonna lie, probably it will be an unpopular opinion, but I can't really get behind the idea of Snow White being played by a Latina because Snow White is the only character you can pull the argument of, well, the skin color isn't canon. There is no established skin color for her. For Snow White, there is actually an established one because she was literally named Snow White because her mother wished for a girl with skin as pale as snow, and she got it. As white as snow. And sorry, but her skin is not as white as snow.
If you really want to give them that credit. This Teen Titans Go syndrome has only gotten worse nowadays, because instead of just telling unfunny stories, modern reboots, especially in the animated realm, aim to purposely disrespect the original vision, starting off with the fact that
How did it disrespect the original vision? It kinda respected the initial creation, like the Fairly Odd Parents one. It respected the lore more than Butch Hartman did with his own work over the years.
the original creators don't want this kind of stuff, almost ever. We've all heard of how Steven Hillenburg never really wanted a reboot of SpongeBob.
I do not mean any disrespect to my colleagues who are working on this show. They are good people and talented artists, but this is some greedy, lazy executive ing right here, and they all know full well Steve would have hated this. Shame on them. So I saw people using it, but the issue is first, it's not Steve himself. It's Paul Tibbett, who has also worked on the original show. Then he is talking on a dead man's behalf right now. And what I want to say is that from what I saw from Steve directly, people saw when they quoted him, he didn't say he doesn't want sequels, spin-off or anything, just that he couldn't see it or something of that sort. He didn't say he doesn't want them, there shouldn't be any, just that he right now, whenever he said it, can't imagine there being some. And apparently, from what I heard, this is just me talking out of my ass, probably, talking from memory. There was that he also knew about Camp Coral when it was in development. I heard that he was alive when it was planned.
But ever since his late passing, Nick has capitalized on two already, with both thankfully pulling in little to no ratings. When a reboot is properly wanted by the creators, it usually does quite well, and actually delivers true to the vision. But when it doesn't, it's just a floundering attempt to show what was good and unique and cash in on someone else's creation. Let's give it bright, saturated animation to the point where kids get a corneal ulcer. Why not? Kids like colors, right? I feel like everything I'm saying only relates to reboots post 2010, because prior to that, most reiterations weren't like this. Most were better than the originals.
Wait, th- those two which he said is better than the originals. I don't know about the Ben 10 one. I mostly know it for the treat a car like you would treat a woman like you would treat a car joke or something. This thing. I only know the original Ben 10, but this one here is a sequel. This is Ben, but he's older. On the main show is still canon. Same was with Batman Beyond. It played in the future. Bruce Wayne is an old man. This is basically the new Batman. It is a sequel. It doesn't decanonize everything. Everything is still canon. Don't worry, it's a sequel. It's not the same. It's not rewriting anything. It's taking it, jumping into the future and continuing the story on. Technically not even taking it. It's learning from it and continuing it.
And actually kept gritty tones with cool brooding art styles. Now it's just a rainbow contest to see which show is
Oh my
brighter
god,
than the
my
rest.
eyes.
Maybe that'll keep the kiddies in their seats a little longer. Let's make all the characters flanderized and dumb while we're at it. Kids connect to dumb people more, right? It also gives us a cheap way of actually creating humor. Stupid people.
And oh god, like now looking back at the people complaining about Teen Titans Go, god, Teen Titans Go it is a work of art compared to whatever iPad kids get to watch online. We didn't know how good we had it, didn't we?
Are funny. These modern reboots just go back to square one while ignoring all the story arcs that preceded them, with a cheap looking animation style and much shallower characters.
Yeah, reboot is going back to square one. It's what it basically means. It's starting from zero again. It would be weird if you watch episode 3 from a reboot and then say, what about the development from season 2, episode 13 in the prior show? Like, yeah, this didn't happen.
And they expect folks to be all on board and excited when they announce one. Don't forget to force memes and trends, discussing imagery and weird detailed faces.
Okay, the weird detailed faces was a thing from SpongeBob, and yeah, this one looked gross, and I didn't really see people enjoying it. Then there's also this No Me Gusta Powerpuff Girls thing he previously showed was also cringe. The issue also was the people this was aimed for didn't have social media. They were way too young to even know what memes are. People watching the Powerpuff Girls reboot don't want to know the original meme. And if people don't get the reference, it's not funny in most cases when it comes to referencing memes.
Often dish the grand arcs and storylines for a slice of life episodic show, bereft of any substance or long term stakes. And look, I've made a
To be fair, slice of life is sometimes needed to get a breather in. Sometimes a show needs something slice of life, and slice of life actually also can still be used to develop a character or get to know them. Slice of life doesn't automatically mean trash. Like, to be fair, Steven Universe was a show I had kind of mixed on, but I enjoy, unlike many in the fan base of other show, so I enjoyed story plots way more than slice of life. Because when it's too much slice of life, I kind of get bored. I kind of want us to see some progress or something from the slice of life eventually come back. That's just how I am, but I don't mind to have some casual episodes between plot driven ones to kind of have a breather or kind of see a different angle. It can work.
whole different video explaining how being more mature or focused on story doesn't necessarily make a show better. That video gives a lot more nuance than I'm frankly giving here. But listen, part of a reboot is a fan service that you never really have to deliver to the original fans of the old property. You can't just say you're delivering something new for the current generation while abandoning the people who made your franchise what it is by watching all those years ago. Don't ruin our childhoods for your own creative laziness. It just
Um, as someone who watched Fairly Odd Parents as a kid, even if I hated this, it wouldn't ruin my childhood. If I look fondly back on watching something, it really wanted to change my opinion. For example, I remember there was this Aladdin rip off. I think it was Golden Films or Good Times, one of those that we had in VHS, and I enjoyed it as a child. Then I saw people talking about it, how terrible it is, like in the last few years, how terrible the rip off it was, how much it sucked, and I don't know. I still look back at it at how I enjoyed it as a kid. Childhood me didn't know that people hate it, so I was still as happy to watch it, and I still have fond memories of watching it, even if it was trash. Like, it won't be ruined. Don't worry, if you enjoyed watching something as a kid, it won't be taken from you if you are an adult and find out it was terrible. And if genuinely this changes your opinion, then maybe you weren't that attached to it. It's just me. I know it sounds like gatekeeping, but it kind of often feel like this. I love Star Wars. I loved the Clone Wars. The most stuff that Disney made, I hated with a passion. The trilogy, I could rant on about how much the trilogy sucked ass, but I still like old Star Wars. I still watch Clone Wars sometimes together with my family. Like, it doesn't take it away from me. The stuff I like, I still enjoy it. I don't care what came in the future. I still enjoyed the stuff I used to enjoy.
makes you ask,
This is something I can genuinely recommend to all of you. If you like the old properties, go back, watch them, enjoy them again. Don't try to focus too much on the new stuff that sucks. Enjoy the old stuff that was good.
why? Not to mention how they unnecessarily have to all of a sudden change
God, the Lunatics Unleashed was so garbage.
everything about the show. I mean, no one wants to talk about it, but the current bandwagon is the whole
God, he brings up Ginger's side. Like, to be honest, it's a weird coincidence how many characters that got skin color change actually were redheads. But most of those examples are stuff I didn't even really knew. And let's also be honest on one point. It's that often those recasts they were completely forgotten. When people, for example, you see Daphne up there in the corner, when people ask you about Daphne, people would always pick the left option because it's the classic. In most cases, the established character is still the OG character because they were well known enough to even get a remake, a reboot, or reimagination.
race swapping thing they love to do with animated characters. April O'Neil, Timmy Turner, Velma, etc.
Oh god, I remember seeing this April O'Neil version and saying she looks like a hipster on Tumblr who is complaining about you drawing stuff not exactly as they are to her liking.
There's the whole voice actress thing. Remember when Hank Azaria was shamelessly ousted from playing Apu in The Simpsons because he wasn't the
He actually, the text even says he stepped away. And I won't pretend that he didn't get any harassment for voicing this character, and I think it's sad that voice actors get harassment for casting decisions or taking roles because, trust me, the voice acting industry sucks from what I saw. If you're not a celebrity, you really get shit payment. And unionizing is for many basically a career death if you aren't established enough, which is sad. But yeah, having a white man putting on an Indian accent is kinda. I can totally see why Indian people would feel pissed on it. That I remember as a not even as a child, as a teenager, I watched sometimes things, and when there was a Russian accent and I knew the accent is fake as fuck, I was kind of pissed. I don't know if it was for the right reason, but when I or German accents, also German accents, I don't know, it kind of always got on my nerves when people purposefully try to be an extra aggressive if it wasn't for comedy but actually meant for a serious performance.
race of the character? Because I do. It's almost like actors are supposed to portray things they're not. Here's another shocker. This guy is actually not an anthropomorphic sponge. I mean,
Is he comparing an Indian man to a talking sponge? Because you can find an Indian man to voice an Indian man. You cannot find a talking sponge to voice a talking sponge. And let's be honest, I think it would actually, who knows, maybe there are voice actors with a thick Indian accent who actually can't find really many roles for them, and this was actually maybe perfect for them, and a white man was playing it, who knows? I'm not Indian, I don't really know how Indian people really felt about The Simpsons and Apu, so I'm not really gonna talk on their behalf, to be fair. But yeah, the point of comparing an Indian man to a talking sponge really is stupid.
it's not just Azaria. This happened to Mike Henry too for playing Cleveland Brown. Alison Brie literally apologized for playing Diane from BoJack because the character was Vietnamese.
Okay, I think it's sad that she had to apologize for taking the role. At the end of the day, it were the people who made the casting choice who picked her.
Oh, so if a Vietnamese person has to voice that character and she feels so sorry about it, will she donate all the money she made on that show to Vietnamese charities?
What? Okay, it's kind of weird because he kind of portrays the voice actors who had to step down as victims. And she apologizes, like, well, is she gonna donate the money to charities then? Like, he now is making kind of similar points to the people who actually bully voice actors out of voicing characters. They are not looking alike. Like, come on, dude, which side are you on?
Or no, is it just a bunch of false outrage for a non-issue no one genuinely cares about? When everything is racial, that's the only thing I can see when watching. I never saw Blade as a black character, or Cyborg, or Gerald as Static Shock. A lot of my favorite characters are
About Static Shock, or rather Static. There was an entire episode dedicated to him being black. It was about his best friend's dad being a racist and needing to learn a lesson. Like Cyborg, remember only there being something like it was kind of played for a joke where Starfire asked him if he kind of had this feeling where he looked different from everybody else or something of that sort, and he said yes, and then I'm a cyborg. And some people, of course, mostly Twitter. I saw a lot of people on color on Twitter talking about how great this kinda was and how it made them feel, so I'm not gonna take that away from them. But yeah, I get it. When you watch a show, you don't really see color when you watch a character, but when there is an entire episode, like in the case of Static, that's dedicated to him being black, where him being black is part of the episode's plot, then it's kinda weird to not acknowledge his skin color. Hope you kinda understand what I'm trying to say here, please.
people of various ethnicities and racial tones. The black female Timmy Turner is clearly just a cheap attempt.
It's not a black female Timmy Turner. She's even completely differently written from him. Timmy was written after like a 10-year-old boy from the aspect that he also had these moments where he was spiteful or petty or even selfish. He was selfish many times, which is like typically for a 10-year-old kid. She kind of has this naivety of a 10-year-old kid. They're kind of both have very childlike ways of thinking, and she's a bit different than him. She's more innocent and naive. I think she's basically what this Chloe girl from the last season would be if she was written better and less like a Mary Sue.
Attempt to reboot this property without any other significant pitches for change. I mean, for the diversity folks, there must be a point where this hurts the cause more than it helps it. And this video isn't just about the new race swapping phenomenon, but it's an extremely prevalent symptom of a larger issue, which ties into the lack of respect for staying faithful to the original property. Maybe Butch Hartman wants Timmy to be race and gender swapped, which is why he has
He wasn't race and gender swapped, and so far I haven't seen Butch really talking about negative about the show, and we know he has a huge ego. If he would have hated it, he probably would have voiced it about how superior it is or how important things weren't kept in. I saw some people even mentioning that he kinda behind the scenes still was present. He didn't have much involvement, but still was present. Don't know how true that is because I'm not gonna Google and watch and look things up, but I haven't really seen him saying it's bad or anything negative about it.
absolutely no direct involvement in the creative department of the project. I find that unlikely. It's absolutely insulting to ruin a person's original vision of a character just because people want to see themselves on screen.
They don't ruin the person's original vision of the character because it's not the same character.
These people are too uncreative to create their own original stories, so they need to ruin existing stuff to be able to call themselves inclusive and hip with the times. This absolutely also hinders the story and episode quality, as the main selling point here is the obvious element that's right in front of us, but no one's allowed to acknowledge it for some reason. I mean, watch a single episode of Rise, A New Wish, Patrick Star, or Camp Coral, and you'll see that. Even those shows are unfaithful to the source material.
The shows are made for different audiences with different reasons, have different stories and everything. You can't really compare this here on screen to Rise of TMNT. Those are different shows. You can't really compare them to come to the same, conclusion.
It's not just about the race swapping issue. Being unfaithful has different forms, and the reason I focus on that
I think it was adult party cartoon Ren and Stimpy. It was still made by the same dude, who was a sex offender, by the way, from what I know. Alleged. It was still made by the same dude. It's the same dude, and the same dude is a creep.
issue is because it's the most prevalent at this point in time. Maybe 10 years ago, the discussion was about a completely different form of unfaithfulness. Still, some shows suffer from that. I mentioned SpongeBob, there are plenty of other examples. I just despise seeing a person's work be disrespected when they likely sacrificed like hell to turn into a reality. And some studio exec can just demand a reboot of it for ratings and completely change the original character into something just to appeal to the bandwagon. In live action, you could claim that the actor's audition and skill level determine who gets the role. And that would be fair, but it's totally different with an animated character made of pixels. Although even that's under question these days when the new Snow White or Ariel can't even sing but are preferred over.
I don't know if Rachel Zegler can sing, but Hale Bailey. Did he just say Hale Bailey can sing? What is he on about? Because I often watch stuff that's criticizing Disney remakes, and I love actually watching Disney remakes being trashed. And they brought up good points, but nobody really complained about Hale Bailey singing. As much as they criticized the shows, as the movies, as much as they criticized her acting sometimes, nobody really could say she was a bad singer because she's a wonderful singer. Actually, she's amazing. I saw some people actually criticizing that some of the songs from the original, which kind of got a bit changed, got worse because their, let's say, tempo, however it would be called in English, was a bit rewritten so that she can show off her voice more, which sometimes hindered the song a bit. The flow of the song, technically, to say so. From the clips I saw, I kinda can see it, but she has a beautiful voice. I don't get the they can't even sing critique. Not to mention voice acting. Some roles actually have a separate voice actor for the singing. But in those cases, it's also most of the times, I think, characters who don't sing a lot or just sing once per episode, maybe. Where it would actually make sense to just hire someone who shows up for one recording of a song and leaves again.
Tons of other actors. I don't know. Am I crazy? I feel like I'm living in the Emperor's New Clothes. People just disagree with this because it's the right thing to say or whatever, but most people would probably agree with these common sense points deep down. When a character is good, race shouldn't matter, nor should the new spin you put on the character, whether it's a gimmicky change in the age, the gender, the design more broadly, or their persona and attitude in a larger sense. Even things like the Lion King remake piss me off because they clearly capitalized on this and it worked by turning one of the greatest animated films in the 90s into a National Geographic.
I don't understand how The Lion King actually broke records for the most successful. I think it was a Disney film, and I don't even know how it wasn't even really a live action remake. It was just a different style of animation. It still was still 100% animated. What the fuck? Well, I didn't know what I was thinking, what they were thinking. I didn't know what was going on there. And why so many people were watching this, I don't get it. I don't understand people. I don't understand them.
Graphic documentary with the occasional reminder that it is, in fact, a Lion King reboot. When they're more faithful to the source material like Cinderella or Beauty and the Beast, it doesn't bother me as much. But I don't think Rob Minkoff and Roger Allers crafted the 94 masterpiece with their own hands just to expect it to get a live action CG remake when it's pretty much 100% animation, or portraying real animals for some reason. God, it's all so stupid. Anyway,
To be fair, I don't even think they were really able to imagine this being so realistically made all those years ago.
I can't wait to see a Static Shock or Spawn movie, and while they're at it, it wouldn't hurt to race swap one more movie, would it? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe.
Oh god. This was this was something. I enjoy modern stuff being trashed. I enjoy video essays about this. The dude, he kind of made similar points, but used different examples. Or he tried to make similar points, and he kind of didn't land. He kind of didn't really stick the landing. It's hilarious to watch. Like, I get why the animation community, which kind of often tries to avoid drama, actually hated it so much that they choose to actually talk about it. Because damn, this was trash. Well, anyways, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, you know. And thank you again, thank you so much for watching. Welcome back, personally again from me. And I wish you one hell of a day.